The heart of Myrtle Beach is tied up in the historic train depot. Find out more coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the Myrtle Beach Historic Train Depot, and we're visiting with the chairman of the All Aboard Committee, Jack Thompson. Good morning, Jack.
Hey, great to be here again, Craig.
Thanks so much for being in. You know, it seems like last time we were together, we were actually not only focused on the depot and much of the preservation which was going on in the almost big celebration that was scheduled to happen sometime in May, but we were also focused on your book, and we were filming at the Myrtle Beach Herald, but at that time it was at Myrtle Square Mall.
That's right.
A lot of myrtles there.
Right.
A lot of myrtles. So much has happened in the interim. Obviously, the excitement back in May of y'all commemorating the big ribbon cutting, the opening of the depot.
Well, that's true. After 4 years of fundraising and having little fundraising projects and train rides, things of that nature, and raising the money that we needed for the restoration of the depot, and culminating that on May the 6th, which was actually the anniversary of the original ribbon cutting.
Is that right?
May the 6th, 1937.
Right.
That ribbon, I might mention, that depot was built by Myrtle Beach Farms. That ribbon was cut by Simeon Chapin at that time, who was chairman of the board of Myrtle Beach Farms.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they turned the deed over to Atlantic Coastline, and of course, Atlantic Coastline operated the Myrtle Beach train depot up until the early 60s. Then it fell into dilapidation and was on the verge of being destroyed and the property cleared when the All Aboard Committee stepped forward and persuaded the city to purchase the property, and we raised the funds to restore it and have recently cut the ribbon.
That is
a
fantastic.
Great time.
What was May 6th like for you, Jack? Obviously, you know, there's the great story that'll be told for years about you running in front of the bulldozer to stop that, and then to help encourage the city and others to help make sure they could purchase the property, I guess from either Jimmy Yanis or somebody who had that, Spadonis, I'm not sure who had it, but an amazing story there and the excitement of that, and for you to have May 6th arrive.
Well, you know, beginning my photographic career in 51 as a high school 9th grade student, working for the only photographic studio in Myrtle Beach, I grew up in the Ocean Forest Hotel, photographing conventions just about every night, and grew to love the Ocean Forest and the grandeur and splendor that was the trademark, hallmark of the Ocean Forest. And of course, when the Ocean Forest was imploded and destroyed, it really relatively broke my heart. So when I realized that the Myrtle Beach train depot, being one of the last vestiges of history in Myrtle Beach, I did what I had to do to stop the demolition of that depot. And of course, the story goes about the bulldozers. But when I saw that about to happen, all I could think of was the implosion of the Ocean Forest Hotel, of course, which should never have happened. And so I immediately did what I could do to stop that demolition of the depot, and prevailed on the city council to purchase that property. And they said, well, we'll purchase the property if you'll raise the money to restore it. Of course, I took that challenge and put together a committee, and we worked very hard. I think we raised right at $635,000, and the restoration cost about that. So we cut the ribbon. We managed to get that depot put on the National Register of Historic Places.
That's right.
Now that belongs to Myrtle Beach. It belongs to the citizens of Myrtle Beach now and forever. And surrounding that depot, we have put down a walk of history. We have paved a walkway all the way around the depot with bricks and pavers inscribed with people's names. Those bricks are in memory of loved ones, family members, deceased members, and that walkway will be there as long as the depot is there. We were very fortunate to recover the flagpole that actually flew in front of the wing headquarters on the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. It had been discarded when the base closed. We recovered that and refurbished it and created a patio in front of the depot and a place of honor for that flagpole to fly the American flag. The Woodmen of the World folks came forward and donated 2 additional flagpoles that now fly the City of Myrtle Beach flag and the South Carolina state flag. So that depot is open, and the flags are flying high, and we're very proud of it, and it is a treasure for Myrtle Beach from now on.
Oh, it is. It is. And, of course, so many folks, if you're coming down, if you live in Myrtle Beach or know Myrtle Beach well and you're traveling down Oak Street and you come to that yield sign and you look to the right, it's there. If you're coming from the Pavilion or the Red Bow, gifts, coffee and tea, and you're heading up to that stoplight, you're looking straight at it. I was in that direction, I guess, last week or a couple weeks back, which made me think, I got to get Jack in, and we haven't had Jack in a while. And, of course, it is incredible to have thought what was there a few years ago and what I was seeing a few years ago if I was traveling from the Pavilion, juxtaposed against what you see now, which is so stupendous. It really makes you just want to go over there and walk in. Now, can someone walk in during the day, or is this, I think I understand maybe from you earlier, Jack, this is open by reservation now?
By reservation, and it's available for rent on a daily basis.
Okay.
Groups, any group, any family reunion, wedding receptions, can approach the city through the Leisure Services Department. Steve Jones is the manager now of the train depot, and a lot of people may remember Steve was formerly the manager of the Myrtle Beach Convention Center until he had a health problem that slowed him down. So now he has graciously accepted the job of managing the Myrtle Beach train depot. You can contact him through the Leisure Services Department, and he tells me that the rental fee is $18.75 an hour.
Very reasonable.
And it's available for groups of 10 to 100.
Great, great.
The city has been utilizing the building quite often with committee meetings.
Right.
The planning and zoning meetings are being held there. The DRC meetings are being held there.
Didn't know that. That's
Leadership Grandstand has met there. The facilities are there for PowerPoint presentations, catering services available for catering wedding parties, reunions, and that sort of thing. So the All Aboard Committee presently is involved in decorating the front lobby of the depot as a historic gallery. We are collecting memorabilia that is pertinent to the history of the depot. And very proud that we've collected a lot from family members whose husbands and wives had some connection with the depot.
Jack, if a viewer had something that they thought would be valuable to the All Aboard Committee, would there be a phone number they could call? Could they call you or call the city?
They can call the city if they do have something of a valuable nature that they would like to consider. I would be happy to consult with them about the security of that particular item. So I would prefer that they call me at my studio.
Okay, what's that number?
And that's 626-3194.
626-3194.
Right. And the committee is in the process now of organizing the material and the memorabilia that will go in that gallery. and I might say it's going to be a wonderful trip back through history. When the depot does open, we do plan to have a full-time curator there. It may be city volunteers who hopefully will keep the depot open for like 10 to 12 and 2 to 4, something like that. Several hours a day, just to make it accessible to the citizens and the tourists to come in and enjoy the depot.
Speaking of taking a trip down memory lane, that excitement, of course, of visiting the train depot, but another trip down memory lane that we highlighted when we were together was that the memories of Myrtle Beach. And I wanted to ask you, Jack, how, of course, when we were together back, and it was either latter part of last year or first of this year, Memories of Myrtle Beach was about to come out. And can you share with the viewers a little bit about the book and exactly how you put it out and what's in there?
Well, the book, of course, is 50 years of photographs that I have made over the last 50 years of actually working out of my studio. A lot of people would say, Jack, I came by your studio and there was a note on the door. I've heard that story for the last 50 years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So now they know where I was. When you open that book and see photographs of just about every landmark, everything of importance that may have happened and went on throughout the history of Myrtle Beach for the last 50 years. And then again, there are 30 pages in the front part of the book that actually deal with the history and formation of Myrtle Beach, beginning in 1900 when the train first arrived in Myrtle Beach, on up through when Myrtle Beach got its name from Ms. Burroughs, who named it after the abundant crepe myrtles throughout the area, to Mr. Chapin coming to Myrtle Beach to join with Myrtle Beach Farms Company. And it goes on from that point, 1900, all the way up to the present day. So I'm really excited about that, and the book has just been like hot donuts. It's wonderful.
Where could a viewer get a copy of that if they hadn't seen it out in stores? Or now you had a special print that went out to Coastal Federal helped with, that went out to their customers or their board members or otherwise, and then you did a separate one, which has had some great success.
Well, I might mention that. I'm really grateful to Coastal Federal. I've been working on this book for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
And a member of the Coastal Federal group came and said, we understand you've been working on a book. We'd like to help you with it. And we're approaching our 50th anniversary of serving the Myrtle Beach community.
Yeah.
And we'd like to create an incentive commemorative gift for our customers. And if you'll let us work with you, and we'll print a copy for the bank, and we'll help you print your copy.
Right.
Didn't take me long to understand that was a pretty good business decision to make, so I did that with Coastal Federal. They got their beautiful book, Reflections of Myrtle Beach. And, of course, my book is Memories of Myrtle Beach.
Right.
Correction, their book is Reflections in Time, I believe. But it also contains those photographs from my book. However, my book has an additional 30 pages of history.
Right.
And I am really, really busy.
You're signing a lot of them. That's right. That's right. Well, you were so kind to donate one of your copies of the books to the American Heart Association for the Heart Ball last March, Jack. I think it went for $1,200, which is around the price of what you've been selling those books for. And so it wasn't that big of a markup that someone paid over the $1,000 that so many people have been paying for the book. For most viewers, they think $1,000. Who has $1,000 to pay for a book, Jack? But the pictures are obviously invaluable.
Well, it is a collector's edition.
Yeah.
I did print 100 copies of the book with a leather cover, a beautiful leather cover, gold embossed with the name and the book number.
The number, right.
The owner's name and the book number is embossed on that cover, and as time goes on, that book will certainly increase in value in view of the fact that there were only a few of them.
Right.
And aside from that, I did print several thousand
Right.
books with a hardcover, the same embossing, but just a beautiful hardcover, similar to a college annual.
Where could a viewer get a copy of that, Jack?
And those books are exclusively available at the present time at Jack Thompson Studios.
Okay.
On Broadway.
Right. Good. Well, we'll have to make sure to send some folks out there if they haven't visited. And that's the same 626-3194 number.
That's correct.
Okay. Area code 843. Share with the viewers a little bit, Jack, about all that had to happen to preserve the train depot, to make it happen. I think you brought some pictures with you today, and maybe you can guide us through a little bit. I know some of these pictures hold immeasurable value. I mean, just in helping to explain the story. Nothing more powerful than the photo.
Well, you know, as a part of Myrtle Beach history, back in the 60s and 70s, and part of the 80s, there was a beer distributing company that was built on that block. A metal buildings actually surrounded the depot, where the beer trucks ran in and out onto Broadway, and it came to a point when the beer distributor, Mr. Giannis, decided that he would move his beer distributing company to the Atlantic Park, Industrial Park, over on 501. He decided to give those buildings to a salvage company who came in and took all that metal down, and lo and behold, there was the depot.
Wow.
It had actually been forgotten by most of the natives and most of the locals. A number of us knew it was still buried back there somewhere. But when all that metal came down, there sat the depot like a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, truly.
And it was just crying out for someone to step forward and save it. And it was a tremendous treasure for past and future generations to be able to appreciate the beginning of the Myrtle Beach area. Because all the material that came and built Myrtle Beach in the beginning, the old guest houses, the piers, and all of those, the infrastructure came through that little depot.
Right. How powerful, Jack. Well, give the viewers a sense of some of the restoration here through these pictures, if you'll guide us through.
Pictures there show the depot as it was, when it was uncovered. And when we formed the all-aboard committee, and then we have an aerial picture there showing the property before we went onto the property to restore it. Several days after the ribbon cutting, I flew over the depot and photographed to show how beautiful the property had been improved, with a parking lot there that certainly will accommodate about 50 cars.
Great.
On any given occasion, and of course there's ample parking around in the back and so forth along the sides. And again, the flags are flying there at that beautiful flag patio. The flagpole in the center that carries the American flag was recovered from the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base and refurbished and installed there at the train depot, which we consider another national treasure that we have. The Woodmen of the World insurance folks came through and donated 2 additional smaller flagpoles that carry the city flag and the state flag. And we're certainly grateful to the Woodmen of the World folks for that contribution. We have, we're still continuing on with the walk of history that will surround the depot. And it will be paved with bricks and pavers for friends and loved ones, and actually anyone that would like to. I have a a cute little story I tell that
Yeah.
anyone that would like to own a piece of the heart of Myrtle Beach,
Oh, yeah.
you can do so for $50 by purchasing a brick to go in the Walk of History at the Myrtle Beach Train Depot. And you can inscribe that brick with a name, a loved one, a friend, and it will be there forever. So I would encourage the public to come forward. You can go walk right into City Hall, pick up an application,
Right.
and fill it out for $50. You will own a piece of the heart of Myrtle Beach.
That's a great thing for our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina to come down to be, because they've been traveling here for so many years or had a commitment here in the Myrtle Beach area. The phone number they can call Kelly Mezzapelli, 843-918-1055. I think 918-1055. We see it there around the bricks, but of course the excitement is being able to buy other things or make other donations to continue to upfit the facility.
Well, now, as I mentioned, we are planning now the interior of the gallery, the historical gallery, and we do need additional funds for the showcases, the bookcases, the shadowbox frames that will go on the wall. So we appreciate additional donations, and we are making an effort to secure those.
Jack, you know, of course, so many folks think of you as the unofficial historian of Myrtle Beach. Obviously, they know you as a professional photographer or as a father or a husband or a number of things here in town. You wear a lot of hats. Is it difficult as a photographer to constantly, I mean, as a historian, oftentimes you're focused on one thing. As a photographer, you focused on so many. You know, you photographed 1 million children or more. You've been out photographing amazing shots. I know earlier this morning we were talking about that shot that's on the wall in my bedroom that you gave me for a birthday present a number of years ago of the Surfside Pier in '89, right before Hugo hit.
Yeah, the Garden City Pier with a rainbow at the end of it.
That's right.
That sort of thing. And as well as the Surfside Pier, I think, was a sunrise commemorating their 25th anniversary of becoming a city in Surfside.
Right, and then the pier.
And that picture was made on September the 8th. Beautiful poster print we made. And then, of course, on September 21st, Hugo came along and just took it away.
Took the whole pier away.
The whole pier, so.
Wow. How amazing. For you, you know, constantly taking pictures, kind of in a preservation sense, but of course you're doing it as your job, as your profession. How is that for you to constantly see the city evolve? It's so powerful in your memories of Myrtle Beach to go through that and understand how the area has changed so dramatically. But for you, all this is in your head as well as now in print form.
Well, Greg, I do have some concern about the changing footprint of Myrtle Beach. You know, there are a lot of us a dwindling number of us, I might say, who grew up in Myrtle Beach and who knew and loved Myrtle Beach before a lot of the streets were paved. And we knew Myrtle Beach subconsciously. We knew it like the back of our hand. We could get around well. We knew that when the big crowds came, that the forefathers laid Myrtle Beach out in such a way for fast exit. And I am a little dismayed at the changing footprint of Myrtle Beach. We have a lot of city planners in now who are from other areas who are not familiar with the way Myrtle Beach was laid out and why it was laid out the way it was for fast exit. And the city planners, much to their credit, are trying to create a new, more beautiful, more attractive Myrtle Beach and perhaps more a laid-back Myrtle Beach. But at the same time, a lot of us are dismayed over the changing of the footprint of the way it was. And that's only natural.
Only natural. Both the feelings of, I'd love it to be the way it was. Of course, you talked earlier about the Ocean Forest Hotel. What do you think would have happened to the Ocean Forest Hotel, Jack, had it not been demolished? And of course, those amazing postcard pictures that you have of the demolition. And how, do you mind me asking, Jack, how old you were when you got those shots? You were in your 30s or 40s?
I was probably 30.
Right. Getting those very famous photos of the hotel being demolished. Did anyone else take pictures that you've seen that rival anything you did? I mean, do you ever see, and that must be fascinating as a photographer, do you ever see the way someone else took their perspective of the same thing you were looking at, but got what's perceived as potentially even a more powerful?
You know, that's a good question, Greg, and one that I've pondered for many years because I've never seen any additional other photographs of that demolition. I have heard that there was a movie, somebody was in a plane and had a movie camera, and wow, would I love to see that, with the smoke billowing out of the hotel as it come crashing down, but I've not seen that, and I've not seen any other photographs of that demolition.
And that's something we need to have. If viewers have seen any, to please call you, let you know.
Yeah, but I might say, though, that while waiting for that implosion, again, I kept waiting to hear a siren. I waited for the fire marshal or the mayor or the chief of police or somebody to come up and say, wait, you're not going to tear this building down. And I feel that today, that building, if it had remained, that building would make a wonderful city hall, a museum, an auditorium, with all that additional property around it that could have been developed.
Jack, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Always a pleasure.
Sorry, we've run out of time. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Jack Thompson coming up next. May 6, 1937 must have been an amazing date. You think back then, the ribbon cutting for what was not yet the Myrtle Beach train depot, because Myrtle Beach wasn't even a city yet. It was only a year later that it became the city of Myrtle Beach. Fast forward to May 6, 2004, on that celebration day. You knew what Myrtle Beach was like. You knew it would continue to change. This was a slice of history. You can be a part of that. The Walk of History is being built every day. You can buy a brick for a donation amount, a very small amount. You can call the city at 918-1055 to learn more. And speaking of history, memories of Myrtle Beach. Jack Thompson's favorite pictures. There's so many of those amazing pictures over the last 50 years. You can call him at 626-3194 to learn more.